Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 3 of The World with Nate. I'm your host, Nate Allison, and this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Mattress by Appointment Cedar Falls. It's as easy as setting up a private appointment via call or text with Katie, finding your perfect mattress, and taking it home the same day. Thanks, Katie Hine, for supporting this podcast episode. I wanted to bring the next guest, Marissa Abbott, on because she is a female cop, and that's not the whole reason. I see you volunteering at every single event that I see cops involved with, whether it's breast cancer awareness, things for kids, raising toys for kids as well, fundraising events, fun runs, marathons, everything that has cop involved. And I was so impressed by it. But the final reason why was you saving the cat's life, Oliver. Tell me a little bit about that story.
Yes. So a few weeks back, there was a cat that was stuck in the sewer over here kind of off of Main Street. We got a couple calls into our station, a couple calls into the Humane Society about it. Everyone was posting on Facebook about it. So it was pretty well known that this cat was down in the sewer.
It went viral.
It did. So our supervisor got a call about it, asked someone to go out. I went out there. We could hear it.
Was it a volunteer thing?
Yeah, well,
it came up? Voluntold is what we used to call it.
Yes, it was brought up that someone should go check on it, so I decided to go check on it. I have a soft spot for animals, so I love it. I went out there, and I could hear it. We could hear it down the drain, and we didn't know where it was actually at. We could not see it. A bunch of people had dropped some cat food down there.
Sewer drain in the side of like a highway road.
Yeah, like right here off of Main Street.
Okay.
So it was a good like probably 10, 12 foot drop from the top.
Yeah.
So we got the grate off, and I could test it to see if I could get down in there. So then I knew I could get back up. So I got down there after hearing it was down there, and I could see it. It was like probably 10, 15 feet in this tunnel that I couldn't get in because it was too small. And I'm down there trying to, call it out. And after a few minutes, it finally up and walked to me.
Okay.
And which is kind of neat. I kind of figured it wasn't a stray probably if it had done that. And obviously, the cat had been down there for a while. There's been a lot of cat food. There's been, a lot of people. Yeah, people walking by and hearing it. So it had come to me. It was obviously pretty dirty. And I was able to pick it up, pass it up. And the cat never fought us. The cat
just came to you.
It was okay with me picking it up.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was happy to hear that it was actually, it was chipped. It was chipped from out of state.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
Yep.
So it made an adventure to Cedar Falls.
Yes, it did. It did. So sounds like they never were able to find the owner, but he did get adopted. And,
heck yeah.
I'm glad I could say that I got him out of the sewer. I know anyone
went viral, right? In our area?
Did. Anyone probably could have done it. The recognition and the posts I got probably.
You were the perfect size for the sewer
drain. Exactly. I was easy to probably
get in there.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a cool thing to say that I got to
different experience.
Yeah. I mean, we don't all the time deal with cats and dogs. I mean, we do once in a while, but most of the time it's people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is kind of cool. Obviously, everyone has a soft spot for animals. I do too.
We saw.
So yes. So
heck yeah,
it's
and
cool.
You didn't take the opportunity to adopt it, but it got adopted.
Yes, exactly.
We had spoke a little bit beforehand that it was really just blew up magnitude. Hundreds of people are interacting with about this cat, which is it's amazing, and it's a testament to people caring about animals and
absolutely
to be able to be the hero for a day. It's awesome. But to be fair, I listed a laundry list of things that you're helping out with, and those things need to be talked about too.
Absolutely.
Not just the cat savior.
Right.
So the cop journey for you, becoming law enforcement, what did that look like? Is that something you want to do forever?
Yeah. So actually, when I started college, it wasn't my goal.
Okay.
I started actually as a biology major.
All right.
I was at the University of Iowa. I started there for, and then I ended up switching to an open major when I was there. Ended up transferring to UNI and majoring in criminology.
Okay.
And that was the first time I had actually declared that major. And
what made you switch?
Well, my uncle is actually in law enforcement.
Gotcha.
Down in Johnson County area. So I had talked to him a little bit rode with him when I was down there, taking some classes down there.
Okay.
And then when I got up here, a lot of the professors were adjunct professors, worked really closely to law enforcement. And so I feel like there's also more job opportunities locally for students and for people in that, trying to feel that out. And so I'd taken some classes and I excelled at them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that I knew, okay, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I want to do. And so I got a job part-time as a student dispatcher at UNI Police Department.
Okay.
While in school. And then I also got a job part-time with the Cedar Falls Police Department, working as a community service officer.
So what's that look like?
So you basically sit at the front, answer phone calls, take front counter calls, so people come to the police department and, want to report something. You write that down, call it into dispatch. You do help with fingerprinting. You help with a lot of the paperwork side of stuff.
Yeah.
So it really does get your foot in the door and get you exposed to what the side of policing is like that not everyone sees.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to me, to meet all the people at the department, obviously see what else comes with it other than just what is on TV and what you see on the street. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we do. So doing the dispatching and along with the community service officer, those were two things to me that really solidified that that's what I wanted to do. I obviously did a lot of ride-alongs when I was doing that, helped me talk to officers and kind of get more of a understanding of what the job is. So I did that. I worked a lot. And then I actually got a job full-time. We were testing. Cedar Falls was testing the fall of 2018. Okay. And I was still working part-time. I was still in school. I didn't graduate at UNI until May of 2019. Okay. So I was still in school. I tested, which is, we'd apply. They have a testing date.
What's the application process look like?
So I think every department kind of alters a little bit, but for us, they have applications. You apply, and then, if you meet all the requirements in the application, you basically are sent a letter saying that there's a testing date on this day.
Okay.
You can come. You're invited to come. It's a physical test, so push-ups, sit-ups, run, sit and reach. There's a couple things. And then you have a post-test, which is like a written test.
Okay.
You have informal interviews, those three are in the same day.
The test, the actual physical testing, what kind of questions are that? Are those law enforcement questions?
Math, reading, writing. Yeah.
So basic assessment questions.
Yep, absolutely.
To get a gear of what you got.
Yes. Yes. So I prepared a lot. Knowing I was going to test for it, I did a lot of preparing on my own. I did practice tests. I did, I ran, made sure I was going to meet the run time, make sure I was going to reach the push-ups and sit-ups. Obviously, I want to be prepared. That's one thing I'm pretty good at. So
I love that.
So we did that all on the same day, the interviews and the both of those post and physical tests. So, and then after that, you move on if they pass you.
It's like selection based.
Okay. Yep. So if you make it through that, then you have a formal interview.
Okay.
You have an MMPI, which is just probably 600 questions of basically just a bunch of questions. Yeah. And they have to evaluate on.
Yeah. Psych evals and all that?
Yeah, kind of similar to that, and then background tests, background checks on you, and call your references and stuff. You do a polygraph if you get, so there's different steps
along the way.
Yeah, you do a polygraph, you do like another physical, like a doctor physical, like medical screening and stuff like that, and then you do like a final interview. So it's a pretty lengthy process.
Yeah, lengthy process.
I think I started November 9th was my test date in 2018. I finally got hired. My hire date was January 2nd of 19.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I was still in school.
Any of it that you didn't feel like you were prepared for? So when you say polygraph, I'd be nervous as shit.
I was nervous.
I'd fail it, not even having a wrong answer. I'd be like, why is this guy having a heart attack?
I was very nervous. It's definitely something that
nobody ever does it either.
No. You hear about it, but you don't ever actually think you have to do it.
That makes me nervous sitting right here, Marissa.
Yeah. So I was nervous, obviously.
But obviously you did fine.
Yeah, and there's nothing necessarily can prepare for that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You just answer the questions truthfully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, there was each step of the way I tried to prepare the best I can for it.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming when I applied, so I had time. I knew kind of leading up to that I wanted to get in the best shape I could.
Yeah.
Do things that I can do to prepare myself.
I love that.
And talk to people, mock
inside
interviews.
That
yes.
Community.
Yeah, absolutely.
So smart.
Yeah. And, I did some mock interviews with people, did research some questions, prepared the best I could. Yeah. So I got hired January 2nd.
So obviously the interview process went very well. Yeah.
Yes, it did.
And that's where you wanted to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was never really one that wanted to stay in Iowa.
Yeah.
Just because it's
cold.
There.
Been there, Marissa.
Yeah.
As an 18, 19-year-old, I was in the same boat.
And, I think it helped actually being, having a part-time job at the police department, knowing those people, knowing the community, knowing, the mission of the department and everything that it involves, the opportunities that the department has, the size, the community size, the department size.
All those things play a factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all really appealed to me. So I knew once, I got started that I was gonna I
love that. That's awesome. That's so cool to hear about our community.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff needs to be shouted from the rafters. So you get done with the process of hiring and you finally get done with school. Yeah. Were you nervous for the first day on the job when you put the uniform on, or do you feel like you were a little bit prepared with all the stuff you did?
Yeah, I felt prepared. Obviously, you get nervous for the little stuff, like, am I going to do this wrong? Is this how I'm supposed to be doing something? But I got hired with 7 other people.
Okay.
So, which is a pretty big hiring group.
Yeah.
Usually, it's not that many people at the same time.
Okay.
So we all kind of were adjusting.
Had a little gang,
newbie
gang.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. So we had a pretty long year. 2019, we had a lot of training. We got hired at the beginning of January, right off the bat in the year, and we did fire school. So we had approximately 6 weeks of fire school. So we did in-house, which we got certified in Firefighter 1 and hazmat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We had some testing with that. And then we did some ride time with officers. We qualified in firearms. We did that stuff.
Every officer goes through the fire training as well?
Yeah, I think there's 2 of them maybe in our department that don't haven't just because it's
timing.
Yeah. Well, and they've been on for, since the program's implemented.
Gotcha.
They've been on. So, yeah. So ultimately now everyone gets hired, they go through fire school.
What a resource to have.
It is. It's really neat.
Personally, I think it's awesome that you get to do both if you want to.
Yeah.
know?
It was nice to obviously do it right when we got hired too.
Yeah.
To have that certification and then focus on, going to the academy after that. So we didn't do them at the same time, overlap each other. We did one.
That would be hard.
Yeah.
To learn two different systems, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So thankfully they thought about that.
Right. So yeah, so then I was still in school. I graduated in May, so I still had that semester that we were doing fire school stuff. I was trying to, finish up school. I wanted to finish because I could have, the department's really good at working with us with schooling. I could have probably spread it out and made it easier on myself, but I only had a semester left. I wanted to knock it out.
Yeah.
So
get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to the academy in April of 19.
The police academy.
The police academy.
So after your 4-year university criminology, then you go to the police academy.
Yes.
Is that necessity or is that something you did? You have to have a 4-year degree?
So you can have a 2-year or 4-year. Different departments, like our department, you need 60 credit hours.
Okay.
Like I know some departments around here, you only need like a high school. Yeah. You only need to be 18, high school degree. So I just know Cedar Falls, you need a 2-year, at least minimum, 60 credits. So if you have 2 years, you can go to Hawkeye's police science program, their academy. So the police science program, I'm not too familiar with, but I do know they cover more, firearms, defensive tactics, stuff like that when you're in school. Yeah. So their academy's a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Whereas I went to the one in Johnston at Camp Dodge. Okay. That one was 16 weeks.
Yes, that's what I'm familiar with from my,
Yes. So, That was 16 weeks. It was April to August.
Okay. What was that experience like?
It was cool. I didn't know what to expect, obviously. It's a little nerve-wracking. It's just not like anything you've
ever done
or had to do. Yeah. So it was cool. Actually, so at the time, the academy building they were remodeling it. Okay. So we had to stay downtown Des Moines.
Darn.
I know, but we had classes in West Des Moines, and then we had some classes on Camp Dodge.
Oh, dang.
So we had
cruising all over the place.
Yes. So we had classes all over, and obviously firearms and driving and stuff like that. We had to go certain places in Camp Dodge. So, I mean, we utilized almost, a lot. So, but it was cool. It was definitely a cool experience. There's 40-some people in our class. I actually was our class captain.
Hell yeah.
Which is similar to a president. They just rename it.
Are you elected by peers or by staff? Awesome. Mm-hmm. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Obviously, it was hard for me. I was 21.
What was the rest of your class like as far as age demographic?
Older than me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was, I think, 7 females. The rest were males. I was definitely one of the youngest. And so that was tough, kind of adjusting to the role of leading and directing and, people who are older than me, have more life experience than me, more experience in general than me. So that was an adjustment. It was hard, but I took a lot of pride in it. And, I had to remember that I was put in this role for a reason.
Yeah, that's a good
it taught me a lot about, what to know and how to lead in the job.
Absolutely.
So it may not be relevant now that I was doing that then, but it did teach me a lot of how I communicate with people and how to level to the people who aren't like me.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was definitely a neat experience. So.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. So you're the class president, the leader of your group. What were the other things that you guys do? Physical activities. You probably PT'd every day.
Yeah, we did a lot of PT, a lot of defensive tactics.
Okay.
Almost every day we did both of those. Started our day off with that. We did a lot of classroom, a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of scenarios.
Scenarios, yeah.
Yeah. Hands-on. We had a test I don't remember if it was every couple weeks, a written test. We did driving, traffic stops, firearms, building searches, all of the practical stuff that you need to do hands-on stuff for, and say you're proficient in it.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. I mean, the days were...
It's a lot when you think about you're doing a whole career with these things and you're slamming it into 13 weeks.
Yes.
And it's there's so much legality in it, I'm sure. And
yeah. Yeah.
So.
And it is overwhelming thinking, I have to learn all of this stuff and then go apply it.
And be perfect.
And yes.
Expect to be perfect.
Yes. Especially if you're me and you think that you need to master everything before you. So definitely it was a little overwhelming sometimes to, especially the laws. We had a class where we, obviously had to learn Iowa laws, Iowa code. And that was a lot because you have to know what they read and, obviously
how
the
that's
case
applied
law.
in situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was overwhelming at times to think about that, but they're very good at teaching you what you need to know, and it's on you to apply it and obviously run with it. So
yeah, hell yeah. That's an awesome sentiment that not a lot of people get to hear about, is how much goes into that. Yeah. And that training, that stuff, you're utilizing it now and learning it back then, and it's ever changing, right?
It is.
Laws change all the time.
Yes. And we don't always know the update. I mean, we personally don't always get updated every time something changes, so we have to adapt to that and stay updated with it proactively.
Yeah.
Like we have to, as officers, take it upon ourselves to stay updated
on current litigation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's hard when it's a whole broad-ranging thing.
Yeah.
Traffic laws, residential stuff.
Right. Case laws. Everything. Yeah.
That's
Why
kind of
can we
daunting.
do what we do?
Yeah.
So, but yes, it's 16 weeks. It flew by.
I'm sure.
It was a long time,
Busy as
but
hell,
it flew
probably.
by. Yes. You almost feel like you're never going to know everything.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing that I have to try and remember then and now. If you know everything, then you're in.
Yeah, chief. I'm sure the
something's
chief
wrong.
is even going to be saying that.
Yeah.
He's learning stuff every day.
Yes. You
Yeah.
could be there your whole career and you still won't know everything.
Yeah.
Everything in this job is different.
Hell yeah. Which I'm sure is exciting too.
It is.
One day you're saving a cat, the next day you're high-speed chase.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for
exactly.
real.
It's a prime example.
Yeah. Is that ever hard when we're talking about, we spoke a little bit off camera, but when we're talking about mental health and like I said, a high-speed chase, then you got to be off work in a few hours and go back to your normal, whatever your day-to-day grind is. Is that ever hard for you?
Yes. With time, it gets a little bit better. You learn to find things that help you adjust and adapt and process things.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for me, I'm on second shift. I work 2:15 to 10:30, so my hours are pretty busy. We're going to all different types of calls with all different types of people.
Yeah, during that time range, you can get anything from school to bar to everything in between.
Absolutely.
Workplace.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you don't always have time to process the call you were just on. You sometimes are going call to call to call, and then at the end of the day, you have to then try and process everything that you did, every conversation you had. I'm one where, I need to get it off my brain before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I'll carry it into my sleep and my next day. So I try, and I've gotten into the habit of writing stuff down. I try and after every day, I journal what happened that day, conversations I may have had, things that affected me, things that went good, laughs I had, stuff like that kind of just helped me process it.
Where'd you pick that up?
One day my thoughts were a little overwhelming, and I thought there's got to be something I can do to get it out. I've always been one to write stuff down, like my to-do lists and stuff, and that's something that I learned helps me, okay, I need to get it off my brain and on this paper, and then I can go to sleep.
And it's gone.
Yep.
Per se.
Yep. So, outside of work, when I first started, I used to drive around a lot after work to try and process things. But over time, you just learn different ways that will help you. Outside of work, though, I try and stay busy and stay, find things that help me get those stressors off. I work out a lot. I try and make it a priority 6 days a week. I go to church. I'm pretty, involved with a lot of things where I can be. My family's still close to town, so I see them a lot. I try and see my friends a lot.
Stay busy.
Yeah, and it's good to have friends in and out of the job. People who do this career are important to have in your life because they understand. Mm-hmm. They understand the feelings, the stressors, the schedule, but it's also good to have people that are not, to try and branch out and get your mind off work when you're not at work. That's probably for me the hardest part, is to separate work and home, not bring work home and not bring home to work. And it is hard because the things and the people that we see and deal with, it's so easy to relate your experiences in your life to what you're dealing with and to latch on your emotions to that. And with time, it gets better. You learn to not necessarily do that as much, but there are times where you do still. You see a situation that you've dealt with personally. You want to emotionally attach to that more than, you would like to. So, and some things you can't help. A lot of things you can't help when it comes to that. You're going to have to just recognize it, address it, and try and control it. And whether it affects you emotionally or not, you're still there to be there for that person. And you need to, do your job and be in that role. And sometimes it helps if you can relate and show empathy a little bit more to somebody because you've been there or you've seen, something that's similar, or any way you can relate to them. It does help. Absolutely. It helps show empathy. It helps relate to them and helps them, grasp that you're listening.
Absolutely.
And that's a big part of this job, is listening and communicating and being there for somebody, and they just want someone to talk to.
Yeah, that's a strong sentiment to hear.
Yeah.
And we got to think, some of these situations that you're responding to are life crisis events for these people.
Yeah.
And you're the only person they have right there. What a responsibility you get to have.
Yeah.
That was awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
But when you are saying taking yourself away from that situation and, putting that veil on so you're not having a hard time with that in the instant, do you ever feel then like you're coming home and the empathy's hard to get back? I know that I lost some heart when I was constantly in tough situations because I shut it all off.
Yeah. Personally, I will say I do struggle sometimes with in an emotional situation is showing emotion in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for so long and so many instances, I have to
You can't cry.
Mask it. I
when
do.
you pick up somebody in a squad car, if it's tough or not.
Yeah, and I'm trained to act and solve the problem and find help and figure something out. And my first reaction is not to cry or be emotional and feel. Absolutely. And whereas everyone else probably has that first. And it's just something that with this job we're trained to do. Yep. We're trained to fall. We fall back on our training in all situations.
Absolutely.
Whether that's our personal life or in a situation on the job, we fall back to our training.
Absolutely.
In that level that we do have. So ultimately, I do catch myself. That is one thing I actually noticed pretty early on, that I don't get emotional as easy because, in a situation I go and I want to help.
Figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whether that's my family, friends, a stranger that I'm not, when I'm not working. But yes, I do. And showing empathy, I am good at, but I do catch myself struggling to
for your
sometimes
own
be emotional when I should be, or when someone else are like, "Why are you not?" And it's just more of.
Then you realize,
mm-hmm.
Well, it might not be normal for me.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And I still feel, I empathize with you, and I still, feel for the situation, but my response may come off otherwise just because of how I'm trained to respond typically.
Absolutely. Me becoming knowledgeable of these things that you're saying completely changed my life as far as how I react to people.
Yeah.
And, it's wild that's how we get to live life and experience that. Wow. So, man, you've been wanting to do this forever, huh? Gosh,
I've been holding it in.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. We didn't talk about water skiing. You said you were super active, but where did you are on a water skiing team?
Yes. So locally here, my family and I have been involved with a ski team in Evansdale. Waterhawks ski team is what the name is.
Shout out.
So shout out to the Waterhawks. So I actually started that in 2008.
Okay.
So I was pretty young. I think I would have been 10. So my stepdad actually was pretty involved. He had skied professionally at SeaWorld.
Oh, wow.
He was,
Holy cow. Cool.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So,
jeepers.
And he was the show director of the team at the time, which is, basically like the coach of a sports team, to kind of put together the show. So he was in charge when him and my mom met. And then that's kind of how we got introduced to it. I had never water skied in my life leading up to that point. So I joined, and it was obviously different. You don't just hop on skis. You climb on people.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it's definitely different. So that's been a huge part of my life since then. I've made strides, in that way too. I'm always learning and always growing on that in the sport, and my family's involved. My stepdad still skis regularly. My mom's involved with, helping with the dock stuff, helping with safety, helping with stuff on shore. My younger sister and younger brother both are involved.
Very cool.
So my little brother, he's 10, so he's just getting into it. He's where I was at when I started.
Awesome. I bet that's cool to watch.
He's a lot farther than I was when I started.
He got an early introduction.
He did. So it's definitely really neat. We put on shows every week in the summer. We start training typically in the winter. We do in a gym. We climb pyramids, do stuff. Yeah.
So it's acrobatics.
It is. It's kind of like a circus.
Stuff you don't know. Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. It's definitely something that I've realized with this job that I need in my life.
Yeah, that's cool.
I need a family, somewhere that I can bond with people outside of work.
Yeah.
So I love it. It's definitely something I enjoy. I can get my mind off of work and get my mind off of everything in life and just go and spend time with my family, spend time with my ski family.
Yeah.
We compete. We go to regionals and nationals every year. So we compete
That's cool.
against other teams
Yeah.
and, then obviously we're placed and we can move on. And so it's really neat. It's really cool.
Yeah. And what you said about having different people, those different lenses, being able to relate to situations differently. Yeah. I value so much more now differences in people and to help me outside of my feelings.
Right.
So we talked a little bit about training, the water skiing, your experiences inside of police work.
Yes.
We talked about saving a cat, but what other sort of things are you doing on a daily basis?
Yeah. So in all in the police department, I've done quite a bit. I know I mentioned earlier Cedar Falls has a lot of opportunities.
Yep. Yeah.
We have a lot of opportunities for advancement, for trainings, for special units. So I just hit my 4-year mark in January. So
is it a ranking system as far as you come in? You're what?
Yeah. So seniority. So basically we're on patrol. We're on the patrol level.
Everybody comes in and goes to patrol.
Yes. Unless obviously we can be assigned to fire. We can be assigned to a police shift. But yes, and then with time, with promotions, we have lieutenants and then we have captains.
Okay.
So I've been on patrol. I worked second shift right off the bat at training. I got off of field training, so we have, after the academy, we have 3-4 months of field training, so you're in the car with somebody. Yeah.
Okay. So a mentor per se.
Yes. Yep. Training you, evaluating you. You move on to the next phase if you can pass, the phase you're in. So we had that pretty much after the academy for 3-4 months, and then I got on my own December of 2019 or the end of November, somewhere around there. Then I went to second shift all of 2020.
Okay.
Third shift in 2021, second shift 2022, and I'm back on second again. So I really enjoy second shift. I've had a lot of opportunities. I am a hostage negotiator for our SWAT team.
Cow, that's cool.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely something.
You had to go to specialized training?
So they interviewed for the position in September of 2020, I believe. And it was something I've always wanted to do. I've always had interest in it from when I learned about it in school and learned about it when I worked part-time. And I didn't realize the opportunity would come to me so early on. And they opened up the position. I interviewed for it and I got on, and I love it. I love talking to people. I love empathizing with people. I love listening to people. And
plus, you're competitive.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be a piece of trying to win the mind game and the linguist.
Yes, there's a lot to it. And it's cool. We go to all the SWAT trainings with the SWAT members. We've gone to a hostage negotiation level 1. There's different levels. Mm-hmm. And it's a school, basically. Then you get certified in that. We go to trainings probably 6 to 8 times a year. Okay. Maybe a couple more than that with them. So we do scenarios. We treat it as an actual SWAT call out and how we would handle it.
Real life hostage situation.
Yeah. Yep. And, we use that stuff on patrol too. We don't, not hostage situations per se, but, empathizing with people, talking to people who,
having a mental breakdown.
Are having a mental breakdown, to just listen to them. Yeah. And it teaches you skills then, but then also with how much I use it on patrol, I can apply it to a situation that could be bigger with a hostage situation. So that's definitely something I love. I love being a part of. It's something I excel in. I'm passionate about. I'm really passionate about it. I love teaching other people about it. I love showing other people these skills that, they can use on just patrol. Yeah. And so that's something I've done.
In their daily life, Marissa.
Yeah.
Those skills are transferable everywhere, right?
Right.
Like, communication is a dying art. We all can agree on that. Mm-hmm. And the more you can listen and learn and speak, the better.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And, fortunately for me, I get to do it in a kind of cool way.
Yeah, and get trained by high-speed individuals who have done lots in that development.
Right. It teaches you a lot about yourself, too. Mm-hmm. And like you said, in real life. Mm-hmm. And, how to show empathy and how to, be a good listener to everyone.
Absolutely.
And so, that's something I take pride in. I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm a field trainer, so I train other people.
Very cool.
I just got certified to field train this year in June.
Very cool.
So I have trained quite a few people since then. And so, just like I said, just field training. So I'm in the car with somebody while they're still in training, and I'm showing them how I do things, how I expect them to do things, just different aspects of the job. I'm on our bike patrol unit.
Very cool.
So that's pretty cool. It's different. We don't use it that much, but.
So how's that determined? It's a nice day and they're like, all right, we're doing bike patrol in the city, or what's that look like?
We, big events like Sturgis.
Okay. Yeah.
And
community events where you have lots of people.
Yeah. Homecoming, runs that we have, stuff like that. So we utilize bike patrol for that. We could go if we wanted to, go out and use the bikes on a busy bar night, or on those trails on a weekend. And I think that's something we've been trying to do the last year, is get them out more.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's definitely something you can get around more to neighborhoods and interact with people more.
Real interaction.
When you're in a car, it's hard to do that. Yeah. So, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's cool. Absolutely. It's cool. I love that. Yeah. So you have done a plethora of stuff. What does your future aspirations look like?
Yeah.
Chief? Or, some people never want to leave patrol, or, some people want to be a SWAT sniper.
Right.
What's Marissa want to do?
Well, I guess I didn't think that I would have the opportunities I've been given this early on. It's kind of opened my eyes to see what opportunities are out there. I do at one point in my career want to go back to our investigative unit, help work that end of cases. Now on patrol, we handle the calls, we take the initial reports, but we don't do a lot of the aftermath, back behind the scenes investigating. That's for the investigative unit.
Gotcha. So it's a handover per se.
Yeah. Yep. And then, they work with the county attorneys. They work with other agencies. Yeah. They do interviews. I've gone to some interview and interrogation courses that have kind of helped me to practice that on patrol now, to maybe get to that point. I have these goals. Like, if that is a goal of mine to get back there, I want to try and work now to better myself for when I am back there.
Absolutely.
So that is a goal of mine. Obviously, I enjoy being on patrol. I love it. I love being able to be in the community and talk to people all day long, different types of people, meet people, talk to businesses. I love it. I love doing that. But, I know if you're back in investigations or you're a supervisor, you still get to do that, just in a different way.
Absolutely.
So, down the road, I would like to be, promoted, but I do want to enjoy my time on patrol.
That's
and,
so smart.
Not as a supervisor for now, because I do like it. I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
It's only been 4 years, but those are my goals. Obviously, I just want to always find ways to better myself. I like to challenge myself. I never settle for where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
I like to, set a goal and reach that. If I reach it, we're going to set another one. And so that's kind of always how I've been.
Do you ever get burnt out?
Yeah.
What do you do for rest and recover? I know those subjects are hot and heavy right now, and law enforcement and burnout. And
I think it's important to know when you're getting burnout. That's the hardest part, is admitting that.
Admitting it.
I have a hard time saying no. I want to be involved in everything. I want to do everything. I want to help other people, and I don't want to. I just have a hard time saying no. I'm on our association board.
That's why I see you at everything.
I know. So there's a lot of things that, like, I I'm involved in, and I love it. I enjoy it. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be, but, I tend to not recognize that a lot of this stuff could affect me long term, just in terms of the busyness.
Yeah.
But I'm very good at, weighing in all the factors before I make a decision. And
Absolutely.
I'm pretty organized. I try and stay atop of things to help manage that. But I do have a hard time saying no. I always have. I'm a people pleaser.
But it's a work in progress, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're telling ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, burnout is definitely something in this job specifically. You may not realize you're getting burnout when you are, because things you may not, it could be subconscious. You could be just things that you see and deal with, and the workload, the stress, we type reports nonstop. And then on top of it, all the extra stuff that you're involved in that you take on. The trainings, we train all the time. The overtime, the forced overtime, the voluntary overtime, stuff that you want to do and want to be a part of, but you need to be conscious of.
The extra stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's quick to get bogged down.
Yeah. And I tell myself, I'm young, I'm single, like I have time to do this stuff, but that still doesn't mean that my mental health goes out the door. So I do stop and on my days off, I truly try and enjoy my days off.
Oh, yeah.
Those are important. But I do love being involved. I don't do it for any other reason other than I truly enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Truly love meeting kids, meeting families, meeting business owners. I love getting involved. I love just interacting with people. Yeah. And, I mean, even just the community policing, going to talk to Girl Scouts, going to talk to, groups of people. I mean, I love that because it builds relations, builds connections. And for me, like I said, I'm fairly young. I am small, smaller. A lot of people, when they see a police officer, they think a guy and big guy, that is big and strong. And for me, I take pride in the fact that I can still succeed and excel in certain things, and I'm built like I am, and I look like I am, and I am a female, and I want to be an inspiration for those people. I want people to look at me and say, she did it, so can I.
Hell yeah.
So
I love that. I love that. Pushing up against that stereotypical crap that really doesn't matter. Yeah. Because you love it and you want to freaking do it.
Mm-hmm. If you have a passion for it, you can do it.
Hell yeah. That's exactly what everybody needs to hear. Everyone. Absolutely. You can't get out of here before we go to the firing range. Yeah. Speaking of volunteering and things you can't say no to, I walked into Hy-Vee and they were raising money for breast cancer. The amount of stuff that you do, Marissa, really, it's seriously impressive. Yeah. And I wish we could clone you 1,000 times and have 1,000 of you on our police staff.
Thank you.
So this episode of The Firing Range is brought to you by Pixel Labs. Thanks, Zach and Pixel Labs, for helping me to bring the podcast to the people. Without further ado, are you ready to rock and roll? So it's a quick, if you've never seen it, it's this or that. You choose whichever speaks to you, and then we'll judge you on it later. Oh, goodness. Just kidding about the judge. I'll just ask you. Would you choose mornings or evenings?
Evenings.
We start easy.
Evenings.
Okay. Hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot in the cold weather.
Are you choosing to be in a squad car or stuck in a desk job?
Squad car.
Taser or handcuffs? What's your rhyme or reason? Career or job?
Career.
Donuts or pastries?
Donuts.
I had to throw it in there. I'm sorry.
That was a quick answer.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Ouch, Oscar.
I know.
Chocolate or peanut butter?
Peanut butter.
Patrol investigations or training is your final answer.
Oh, man. Hitting you with it. What Can I alter it?
Whatever you want.
Patrol now, investigations eventually.
In the future. I love it. Yes. Like I said, I really admire what you're doing. I love your enthusiasm for being in our community. And I think if we could just duplicate that and times it by 1,000,000 others, it would be great. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for taking the time to come on The World with Nate.
Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah.